Today we are going to discuss about homeopathy. What is homeopathy? And I am Dr. E.S. Rajendran, Senior Consultant of Homeopathy in Sleeva Medicity Palai. So, when we look at the story of medical science, we can see that homeopathy is one of the latest entrant into the field of medicine. It just completed 200 years of its existence, and it was discovered by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, a physician from Germany, in 1790. Though the idea of homeopathy, the 5 basic principles of homeopathy, that is the similia, similibus, curenter, was in his mind in 1970 itself, he did extensive research further for 6 years. And in 1796 he published his discovery in one of the journals of that time, which was called Hofland's Journal. And here what he observed is, substances capable of producing signs and symptoms in a healthy person is also capable of curing diseases with the similar presentations. So, this is the basis on which he built up his theory of similia, similibus, curenter. So, major discoveries of Hahnemann are something which we need to understand what is homeopathy. So, the first thing he did is, he started the proving of drugs in healthy human beings. He is one of the first among the medical fraternity, first among the physicians who said the experiment should be done in healthy human beings rather than in animals or in other sources. So, what he did is, he discovered the process of dilution first, and that diluted medicines in 30C potency he utilized for drug proving process, that is administration of 30C potency in healthy volunteers, and he observed that this 30C dilution of homeopathic medicines produces transient signs and symptoms in healthy human beings, and these symptoms will disappear once we withdraw the medicines in the process of proving. So, this presentation in healthy human beings is the basis of therapeutic application of homeopathy, and this is very unique because all homeopathic medicines which are used in treatment of patients are tested in healthy human beings, and their therapeutic presentations are recorded after their administration in healthy human beings, and that is the basis of homeopathic drug administration, and that is the basis of the science of homeopathy. So, this is one of the major discovery of Hahnemann, that is the drug proving in healthy human beings. And the second major discovery of Hahnemann is dilution or the process of potentization of drugs, that is medicines are diluted and potentized in 1:99 ratio, which is called the centesimal scale of potencies, and this is a commonly used dilutions in homeopathy. And there is one more dilution, that is 1:50,000 dilution, and which is otherwise called LM potencies or 50 millisimal scale of potencies. And what Hahnemann observed is, as the dilution goes up, the drugs are acting more deeper and longer, and they are having more curative effect in human beings. But the problem was, this observation of Hahnemann did not match with the observed ideas or the approved ideas of chemistry during his time or even later years. So, this conflict or this contradiction of Hahnemann's observation that the highly diluted medicinal substances producing deeper effect in the human body was in contradiction with the general science and its belief system for a long time. So, these homeopathic drugs produces curative effect in patients, though their dilutions are too high, was an empirical evidence of homeopathy and which established the science of homeopathy in the mind of human population. But the problem was, it went against the general belief of the general science, which believed that the curative effect of drugs depends on its optimum quantity. So, the optimum quantity of the drug material in the human bloodstream or the human system is in contradiction with Hahnemann's observation that when the drugs are diluted and diluted and diluted, it acts more deeper and it acts more curative. So, these both were not agreeing each other. Therefore, there was intellectual discord and scientific difference between the method of homeopathy and the general science, and it lasted for long years. We can say that it lasted for 200 years, maybe more than that, and that is a reality when we look at it. But now, in the last a decade of time, the recent advancement in the modern science, we know that genetic decoding and its further scientific advancement in the field of genetics, now we know that our genetic constitution plays a role in all disease process, including common disorders as a consequence of the multitude of differences in our DNA. Let us take the example of any disease like hypertension, diabetes, cancers, autoimmune disorders, allergic diseases or cystic fibrosis, hemophilia, etc. Every disease we will find there is a genetic constitution plays a role, and moreover, the genetics of the immune system determines our response to infections by pathogens. So, even infectious diseases has a genetic basis in the immune system. The cellular and bodily response to the environment differs according to our DNA. This is very, very important. The cellular and biological bodily response to the environment differs according to individual DNA. That shows, end of the day, every human being is tailor made according to his DNA, and his diseases are also tailor made according to his DNA, and he needs a tailor made individualistic medicine to cure his diseases. This is a scientific reality which we landed today. Therefore, let us see the conclusion of modern genetics, what it says. It clearly states that understanding genetics and the genome as a whole and its variations in human beings are integral to understand the disease process, and this understanding provides the foundation for curative therapies, beneficial treatments and preventive measures. So, now we are coming to the level of understanding the genetics at the genome level as a whole, and the variations in each human being is the basis of disease process. Therefore, that should be the basis of curative process in diseases. So, the whole concept of medical world has divergent views for all these years of human existence, but now we are coming to a point of convergence, and that convergence is in the genetics of human beings, and this genetics of human being is the foundation on which the human existence is being possible. Therefore, the new discoveries of the modern genetics is so important, and it can completely solve the contradictions between various systems of medicine existed for generations. And scientific advancement, as we know, always it helps to resolve the problems rather than aggravate the problems. So, now we are coming to the point that why homeopathy and its nanoscience is very relevant. After 200 years of disputes and arguments in the field of science about the scientific nature of homeopathy, now in the last 1 decade we are very sure with the use of modern electron microscopy and the modern spectroscopic analysis, it is conclusively proved that homeopathic ultra high dilutions are the immense source of nanoparticles of original drug materials. That upgrades homeopathy to the stage of a nanomedicine. As it is individually tailored for each patient, we can definitely call it as a personalized nanomedicine, and that is what homeopathy is. And what is the other area of research which takes homeopathy to a different level? That is related to the epigenetics. Again, in the last 1 decade, many researchers around the world, many molecular biologists and many geneticists repeatedly proved that homeopathic ultra high dilutions produces epigenetic modifications. Therefore, it can cure diseases at genetic level, and it is well proved that this homeopathic nanoscale material can produce epigenetic modifications. It can upscale or upgrade the gene activities, or it can downscale the gene activities. Similarly, it can switch off the genes and it can switch on the genes. Therefore, we are coming to a different level of understanding about the human health and the disease formations and the process of cure, and that is at the genetic level, and that is a highly advanced futuristic approach in the whole field of health sciences. And homeopathy is seen as a personalized nanomedicine. We have definite reason to say that. Why homeopathy is a personalized nanomedicine? Because of mainly 3 discoveries which happened in the course of time, and 2 recent discoveries which we have already discussed. One is homeopathic ultra high diluted medicines produces epigenetic modifications. Number 2, homeopathic dilution process generate nanoparticles in the original drug solution. And another important discovery of Dr. Hahnemann 200 years back, he discovered when you give these diluted homeopathic medicines to healthy human beings, they are producing signs and symptoms in the volunteers of proving. So, these 3 phenomena, if we look at carefully, that means the 30C dilution of homeopathic potencies produces signs and symptoms in healthy human beings, and homeopathic ultra high dilutions produces epigenetic modifications. That is a recent finding. And still more recent finding, homeopathic ultra high dilution process generate nanoparticles, and there are plenty of nanoparticles in homeopathic drug dilution. So, these 3 different events are clear pointers to the future healthcare revolution, because the whole story of the cause of diseases and the cure of diseases are moving from a level of hypothetical and argumentative point into a point of clear and definite point of genetic modifications. And this is a greatest achievement of the modern world, and this is going to be the greatest achievement for the future of human health and health sciences. Homeopathy, we have seen in the last 200 years, it has been observed repeatedly millions of times that homeopathic drugs cures many chronic diseases which are otherwise incurable. Why it is happening was a moot question, and the question was never being answered. But now we have a reasonable hypothesis and a reasonable scientific answer for that. homeopathic drug proving which Hahnemann discovered, now we know that these nanoparticles in dilutions produces subminimal stimuli in genetic system, and this subminimal stimuli in the genetic system throws out signs and symptoms in the body. That is one aspect. Other thing which we are doing as homeopathic physicians, a detailed case analysis which covers the complete mental and physical characteristics of an individual with the disease process, bring out genetic blueprint of the individual. So, when you connect these two phenomena, the drug proving and its signs and symptoms in one side and the patient's characteristics on the other side, homeopathy prescribe on the basis of similarity between these two phenomena. When we prescribe a drug based on the similarity, that means when a disease produces a set of presentation, and when we prescribe a medicine which is capable of producing the similar set of presentation in healthy human beings, we know that the subminimal stimuli of within the genetic system which produce the signs and symptoms, and the similar stimuli when you prescribe in a patient can rework on the genetic system and it produces genetic modification, and that lead to the cure of diseases at its root cause. That is the reason why large number of patients with chronic ailments have been cured with homeopathy. Now we have a reasonable explanation, and now we know what is happening. And this process is something which is unique because we don't need large quantities of medicine to cure the patient. When we focus at the biochemistry of an individual, when we look at the physiological modification of an individual at a gross level, we need large quantity of medicine to stabilize, to reverse and to cure the process. But when we look at the genetic system, which is the most subtle part of human existence, the coding of the genetic system, when it is altered, it produces diseases, and if you are able to rearrange the coding to the original format, then you can cure the diseases at the genetic level itself. There, the process of cure will not be too painful to the patient, and the cure will be long lasting. And what we understand is, definitely homeopathy has its edge in the genetic system and it produces cures at the genetic level, but the process of homeopathy, the methodology of homeopathy, which needs to be purified and perfected in the course of years. Therefore, that point, the cure of the diseases will become more rational and it can be explained with more clarity. But the science is moving into that direction, the researchers are moving into that direction. Therefore, in the coming 1 or 2 decades, the process of disease, the understanding of the cause of disease, understanding the process of disease and understanding about the cure of disease are going to be shifted into a new level, and that new level of cure is going to be more marvelous for the humanity. Thank you.